let's go on to Mojo, the Mojo report of the week.
My guy, that's why I threw you under the bus.
Evaluating the 2021 quarterback draft class. Let's look at their stock prices. When these players were coming out of college, we know that they got a lot of hype. Most of them were perceived to be franchise quarterback talents. That is Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Mac Jones, and even last season, Davis Mills showed some flashes. So right now, Trevor Lawrence is priced at $64, Mac Jones $43, Zach Wilson $34, Trey Lance $32, Justin Fields $24, and Davis Mills $18. Now, are these prices too low for these guys? Do you have hope in at least 3 of these popping to become franchise quarterbacks? Where's your mindset on this class right now?
I think, real quick, Drew, before you go
ahead, man.
I think the one that sticks out the most is Mac Jones at $44. That's the one I'm shorting right now. If I had to choose between all these guys, who I'm going long, who I'm going short on, and for the most part, I've been long on damn near every player we talked about with Mojo. But Mac Jones at $44, when you could get Zach at $34, Mac Jones coming off an injury, it's a high ankle sprain too. He didn't look great in his first couple games. We know the play calling there is abysmal. The offensive system, the coaches he has around him is far from ideal. The weapons are far from ideal. Although your guy Tyquan Thornton came back last week,
That's a fact.
only had a few yards. But regardless, the situation for Mac isn't great. And at $44, I don't know how much higher that's going to go, at least this year. So for this season, I'd be shorting Mac. But long term, once they get some weapons, once they get, maybe a different offensive play caller in there, I think he's a good enough quarterback. But right now, 44 is too high for me.
The big one for me, and I hate to be the Mr. Obvious, but Trevor Lawrence, for me, is one of those guys that I look to go long on because of the fact that I believe he's the next $100 guy. There's 4 guys right now because Matthew Stafford's been struggling lately. He's out of the hundreds. I believe he's like $97 off the top of my head. But Trevor started the season very hot. These last 2 weeks kind of brought his price a little bit down. This is your time to invest. I bought in a little bit too early on Trevor, now that his price is starting to go a little bit down. This guy has all the tools to be the next $100 guy. He has the arm. He has the mobility. He has the minds, the vision, the ability to see the field, the ability to hit tight windows. He has it all, and he's only in year 2, and the team's only going to get better. We saw what he's doing with Christian Kirk. We're going to talk about that situation a little bit later. But get your bet in on Trevor now while you can before it's too late.
I think that if people were to say right now that the 2021 quarterback draft class has been underwhelming, they wouldn't be wrong in that assessment.
No, they'd be correct.
Justin Fields hasn't looked good. Trey Lance is out for the season, and even his future with the 49ers is in question because he is a raw prospect. The only 3 guys that I think are going to hit in this draft class, and ironically, they were my top 3 quarterbacks when I ranked these guys in the pre-draft process, was Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, and Mac Jones. Mac Jones is somebody who, he's the perfect system quarterback. He's going to be a 10-plus year starter in the NFL. He's going to be a very good quarterback similar to Kirk Cousins. Zach Wilson, I think he's going to be a franchise quarterback for the Jets. You see the infrastructure around him right now. He doesn't have to go above and beyond to have the Jets win. He just has to do his job, and that's what he's doing. And Trevor Lawrence has the franchise quarterback talent to do that. Zach Wilson, to me, seems like the best investment at $34 because I think he could be at Trevor's price point in about a year and a half or 2 years. Trevor Lawrence can be a franchise guy, so maybe he could be a $100 guy. With the $100 guys that you see, with Josh Allen, Mahomes.
Josh Allen isn't even 100 yet. He's pretty close.
He's like 93.
Okay. So who are the $100 guys? Matt Ryan, Tom Brady, Mahomes.
It's Brady, it's Rodgers, it's Mahomes, it's Ryan.
In order to be a $100 guy, you have to also be surrounded by talent and a team that's going to consistently win. And with Trevor and the Jaguars, I just don't see that. We're seeing the rewards of their past free agency pay off this season, in the short term at least, because they signed a lot of players. But that has hindered their long-term flexibility, and that is worrisome for me. The Jets seem like they're in the best position. They have cap space. They have talented first-round picks. Joe Douglas has been hitting on the draft. They have the coaching staff. it seems like Zach Wilson is the best investment of all these quarterbacks. And if this draft class comes away with 2 to 3 franchise guys, I think it is a pretty strong draft class.
Yeah,
for
sure.
Oh, no doubt.
There's a brand new fantasy app. It's called Boom Fantasy. You got over-unders, player props. You got matchups. This player versus that player. That's personally my favorite and long shots. You can win 40 times your money. And if I'm not mistaken, Joel, NBA is coming soon.
Yes, sir. NBA will be in the app in the next 10 days or so. I believe opening night is October 19th, so we'll have stuff up a few days beforehand. That's going to be fun because we have it every night. You don't have to wait till Monday, Thursday.
Did you get your code? For the league pass?
I did get my code for the league pass.
I got my code too.
Yep, that's amazing.
That's from 2K, right?
Yes.
That's tough.
Amazing.
That's fire.
So if you guys haven't already, download the Boom Fantasy app right now. Link is in our description or in the caption wherever you're watching.
I mean, if you look at two would be a success. 3 with Mac Jones, who made the playoffs last season. Of course, you got to show him that respect. The reason why I only disagree with the Jaguars statement is because we all did sit here and say that the Jaguars were going to win this division early on. It's looking like that is not a great opinion as of right now. The Jaguars have looked sloppy these last couple of weeks. The team's starting to get exposed for their lack of weapons. The only positive is that we're starting to see ETN, at least this past weekend, start to really break out into the role that we had expected of him, to come into this season. Now, in this offseason, the whole goal should continue to be put weapons around Trevor Lawrence, whether that's through the draft or trying to spend money to bring one in. You did have to overpay to bring in Christian Kirk, but at the minimum, Trevor showed if you bring in a guy, I will show you that I can have success with him. Now, if you go out and you spend high draft capital on a wide receiver, which of recent years we've seen teams do and it pay off immediately, and the Jaguars continue to follow suit, and with the defense that they've put forth this season where it still has some tweaks to make, but even still, that front seven has been very solid, one of the better ones in the National Football League. So you have the defensive side of the ball covered. You just need to surround your guy, the number 1 overall pick, Trevor Lawrence, with weapons, and I think that he will get to where we believe he can be.
And looking at the contract for Christian Kirk, it's probably not even that much of an overpay.
Facts.
Looking at it now, $18 million for a wide receiver before Tyreek got paid, before A.J. Brown got paid, and a couple of other receivers, Tay as well. It looked like an overpay, but to me, that just says you're a good wide receiver too if you're getting about $18 million per year. And like you said, not having the weapons, I'm willing to overpay for those couple of years, especially a Jaguars team who it's not like they're up against the cap, right? They still have cap, and they made a bunch of moves last season, so we'll see how much that impacts them this upcoming season in terms of cap perspective. But getting that wide receiver for Trev, it's almost invaluable. Like, obviously, you're not paying $30 million for him, but if it's only $18 million to get someone that you could rely on, we saw Christian Kirk has been phenomenal this season.
That's a fact.
I wouldn't call him a wide receiver 1, but he's been probably one of the best wide receiver 2s, even though he is wide receiver 1 on his team.
Yeah.
I think for what the Jags had available to them, Trevor Lawrence is making it work. They've been struggling, but you still got to think it's a young team. Doug Peterson's first year, Trevor Lawrence's second year, starting at the helm. So got to give him a little bit of time. Maybe we did jump the ship a little bit early on the Jags, but I'm still not completely sold on the Titans, who they have the vets with the coaching, Derrick Henry. The Colts look like a mess, and Houston I'm not sold on either. So in another week, the Jags will go have a big win, and all of a sudden the Jaguars are back, right? So it's still a young team. I think they're going to go through some growing pains, but I'm still in on the Jags. I'm still in on Trevor Lawrence for sure.
And Zach Wilson's investment, I understand it 100%. Of course, at $30 for a potential franchise quarterback, that the ceiling that you can get to with Zach, you can definitely maximize and make some decent change there too. He has a great situation around him. I'm not. If this sounds like I'm gonna come shit talk Zach, it's not. Okay. You have Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, who has been disappointing.
Yeah.
It's really unfortunate, but it can be understood. Garrett Wilson is just better than Elijah.
And to be fair, against Miami, no receivers did anything.
No, that's true.
And I think against Pittsburgh, Elijah, did he have the second most yards on the team? I could check.
Breece Hall is so fantastic.
He's good.
It just allows there to be a little bit of flexibility too with Zach. Is now you're not heavily defending against the pass. Not that you were in the first place, but now you have Breece Hall, who is a legitimate threat that you have to be worried about both on the ground and through the air. That is going to open up space for Zach as well. And with the weapons that he has on the outside, it definitely could be worth making that investment as well.
I do agree with your point about Trevor Lawrence. We've seen Trevor. He's just had 2 bad games back to back. This is the time to invest in him because I still think he's going to be a great quarterback. And after the first 3 weeks, we were putting him in that, wow, he might be a top 15, top 12-ish guy in the league already. So now after this 2-game regression, invest in him while you can until that price spikes up again. 3 of the best rookie running backs right now, Breece Hall, Dameon Pierce, and Kenneth Walker, who now is going to be the starter since Rashad Penny unfortunately got hurt. Prayers out to him. Breece Hall right now is $11 on Mojo, Kenneth Walker $10, and Dameon Pierce is $9. Who's the guy to invest in? I'm a Jets guy. I'm a Breece Hall guy. But Dameon Pierce being at $9, I feel like Dameon Pierce is going to possibly win Offensive Rookie of the Year.
He very well could. He's looked fantastic in Houston. It was only a matter of time before he really took over that full-time job, which is what it's been these last 2 or 3 weeks. You know me. It's going to be Breece Hall. He was my pick for Rookie of the Year coming into the year. I saw his ability to play at Iowa State, and now we're finally, it took a few weeks, only 5 weeks, but he is, without a doubt, the clear number 1 on this team. Season low, 27% of snaps in week 2, then 51%, 66%, then 69% this past week against Miami. That's top 10, 12 amongst all running backs, so he is getting the workhorse type of share that we were expecting, a high second-round pick, a guy the Jets traded up for, very similar to the Broncos and Javonte the year prior, only move up a couple of spots, but they wanted to make sure they got their guy because they saw a potential superstar at running back, and Breece has shown one of the reasons why I was so high on him is because he's a complete running back. He's 6'1", 6'2", 215 pounds. He could block. He could be a receiving back. He could do it in the run game. Fits this system perfectly. I do like Kenneth Walker. He was my RB2 coming into this year. I did think there was a gap between Breece and Kenneth Walker. I still think there is, even though Kenneth Walker looked phenomenal in his first time being able to be the workhorse running back for Seattle. I think he's going to have a good season for sure, but I think Breece has a bit of a different gear, and I wouldn't surprise me if at the end of the season we're looking at Breece as a borderline top 10 back.
Breece can just do everything. He's a freak of nature. He's a strong running back. He's a fast running back. He is a great receiving back. He's an excellent blocker. That is very rare to find in a draft, and to hit on all of them, the Jets are sitting very pretty right now. He has been one of their best, arguably their best weapon this season. He's been extremely consistent. And, of course, with Michael Carter being in that running back room, it was only a matter of when Breece was going to get the full opportunity. And even still, we still saw Michael Carter being a vulture at the goal line, snagging 2 touchdowns this past weekend. But even still, Breece was being effective in all aspects of the game. It's only the beginning for Breece.
And for all the analytic guys out there who shit on the Jets for trading up for a running back and then the year prior drafting Elijah Vera-Tucker, how dumb do you feel right now?
Yeah.
How stupid do you feel that AVT could play damn near every position except probably center? He played left tackle, he's played guard, he's played right tackle. He's let up 1 sack all season. He was more than just a guard. And if you overlook that coming into that, that's bad process on you. And if you overlooked Breece Hall, what he could do to this offense for the Jets, that's bad process on you because Breece Hall is a difference maker for this team. So trading a 5th or 6th round pick to move up 2 spots, if that's what killing you, a special teams guy or a guy who might be out of the league in a year or 2, you have to go back and see what you did wrong because Breece Hall was a difference maker. The Jets said they want someone who has home run ability, who can make those big plays. We saw it with the 70-yard reception, almost a touchdown, just got down the 1-yard line.
He was carrying, for yards.
Yes. So I know we talk about don't take guards early, don't take running backs early, but you do have to see what this does to a team, especially a young quarterback who's still trying to get into his groove.
And the Jets beat the Dolphins 40-17. Very easy win. Jets 2-0 with Zach Wilson now.
Really quick to add to the last thing I want to say on this Mojo segment. Do yourself a favor and go invest in Ramondre Stevenson.
Yes, great call.
Ramondre Stevenson costs $8. He costs less than Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, Dameon Pierce. And Ramondre Stevenson is among the league leaders in rushing yards this season so far. He has been fantastic. To get him for $8 right now is a come-up. Do yourself a favor and invest in Ramondre for the long.
And the reason he's saying that is Damian Harris is going to be out multiple weeks.
Yep.
We saw this past week Ramondre had 25, 26 carries, 150 yards. We knew the talent was there. It was just him and Damian were going to split time. Now that he's out, he's going to make that breakout into, I don't know if we're going to think he's a top 5 running back in the league, but he could be top 5 in rushing yards and wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I think that's facts.
Yeah.
Ramondre is a beast. That's the reason why I had him in my top 32 running backs in the NFL in the preseason.
Didn't you have Swift at like 24?
Yeah, I did.
Nice.
I did.
Oh, no, the Swift disrespect was crazy. And the Saquon disrespect was crazy also. But we won't talk about that.